Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nini Chong, and welcome to Her Rise Story, My Wellness, in conjunction with the World Wellness Weekend. And this is a collaboration between AMSPA and also Tourism Malaysia. So, um, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so happy if you are taking the time to join us today. I'm so happy that you are with us today. So it will be really awesome if you could share this stream with your friends and your family, right? Because today we have an awesome guest with us, and I will get her to talk more about herself. But before that, right? A little bit about her rise story. So her rise story started in February this year, and we were supposed to have a live event in March in conjunction with the International Women's Day. But then the MCO happened, and all our show and all our event went virtual. And ever since, we've done a few collaborations locally and also internationally. We had so much fun doing this. And Her Rise Story is making a comeback with Her Rise Story, My Wellness. And we will also be talking to you more about what are the programs we have lined up from 22nd of August, which was last weekend, up till 18th of December. So the virtual talk show is the first phase of Her Rise Story, My Wellness. And then we will move on to Her Rise Story Heroes, where we have identified 40 heroes, 20 affluent heroes, and also 20 rising heroes, where they will be talking about their rise story, their challenges, their rise story. And by doing that, they will be selling their hero t-shirt, where you could have a look at herrisestory.com, www.herrisestory.com. And all profits will proceed to 40 different charities. So that is Her Rise Story Heroes. And the main event will be on the 10th of October in Kuala Lumpur. And we will then move on to the last phase of Her Rise Story, My Wellness, where we will be running corporate wellness program happening from end of October up till middle of December. So wellness is an important thing, especially during this time of adversity, right? So today our topic, it's about resilience, it's about work-life balance, and the reality of what's really happening out there. Being resilient, moving on with life. What's really happening with so many people, with the minority, with the majority of people who are facing different kind of challenges. So for that, I would like to bring our special guest for today, Nick Adina Taty. So I will be having Nick Adina Taty today, and there you are. Hi,
Hi,
Taty.
hi, Nini. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Yes, thank you so much for saying yes to this, right? I'm just so excited. You are the kind of woman that I would really love to have in the show. And you say yes, kan? And I know that you've been doing so much work. And like you shared earlier, during MCO, you started something. But before even we get into that, right? Speak to me and the audience more about yourself, Tati.
Okay.
Who is
So
Nick Adina Tati?
my name is Adina Taty. Well, I don't like to do these things, right? Talking in public and especially on camera. But
Well, you're doing awesome.
okay, I accept this challenge to be
Yes.
resilient. So Basically, I have a mixture of different background because I always feel like I want to try new things. I want to do things that would challenge me. So, by background, I am trained in industrial psychology. And I have done a lot of training and development, especially for youth. And On the work and corporate level, I chose the path of giving back to the society. So it all started from the time when I was doing the hardcore poverty as well as underprivileged schools. I think that was the first time that I started believing in this way of doing things, other than marketing and HR. Um, because when I started going onto the ground and I started seeing, the different kinds of challenges that people have gone through, and I thought, okay, I want to do something that would pay me to do good. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah,
So good,
so
right?
then of course, halfway through I decided, no, now I just want to do programs for rich people. But that didn't last very long because I think my heart and my passion is back to giving back to the society. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Tati, I know that you've done so many awesome projects, right? Because I'm Sabahan. Is it in? I'm Borneon lah, kan? Is it in
Borneon, yeah,
Sabah? Is it in Sabah or in Sarawak too?
both.
Yang you both. Talk
Yeah.
to us a little bit more about that.
Okay. So in Sabah, it was a program in Kota Belud. It
Mm-hmm.
was a small kampung called Kampung Song Song. And
Songsongan Magandai somewhere there, is it? No.
yeah. So
Ah, okay.
they had issues of clean water, education, livelihood, and basically women empowerment. So
Mm-hmm.
we went in there, all the tough roads to get in and all that, and worked on a plan to get all the other corporates to come in and contribute to programs there. So we provided lah some apa tu, water harvesting and also some education program for the kids. I can't remember which other area that we went, but we did
Mm-hmm.
a few in Sabah, and then in Sarawak we actually did near Tanjung Manis, which was Pulau Bruit lah. So at
Mm-hmm.
that time,
Pulau
the
Bruit, right?
sorry.
Pulau Beruit, right?
Yeah, Pulau Bruit. So the
Mm-hmm.
island had about 11,000 over families,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very, very, very bad because water supply was uh, well, there was lack of water supply, and even the water supply that they had, situlah dia mandi, situlah dia cuci kain, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where they get from, collecting their water source, but the
Mm-hmm.
water is polluted. So
Okay.
it took us about, what, 6 hours on boat ride to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And there
Mm-hmm.
were 9 villages. And whatever it is, the orang kampung said, you must get in and get out by a certain time. Because if you don't get out, you might be stuck here for 8 days.
Oh.
So because of the tide. And
Oh.
although we could be rescued by helicopter, there's no way I was going to get on a helicopter. So we actually did some mosque repair because
Mm-hmm.
some of the houses were already like uh, uh, falling apart, And
Mm-hmm.
we went to schools and we saw no electricity in schools, no clean water. So we developed a lot of programs for the island, but it was tackling different issues for different villages lah. And the main thing was to feed them first, because
Mm-hmm.
yes, there was other issues like livelihood and all that, but they were hungry. There were some parents who were feeding because sometimes there are sailors and pirates or whatever that cross, kan? And they would then start supplying alcohol. They will start supplying drugs so that people would get addicted to it. And there were some families who actually, when the children were crying because of hunger, they would give the children alcohol just to make sure that
Okay.
the children would stop crying. And that was how bad the situation was on the
Sama
ground.
macam sama macam dekat Sabah lah kan. So
Mm.
banyak people macam rasa, budak hisap gam. But actually
Mm.
people don't know the reason why they hisap gam. The hisap gam is some to that similar reason, right? So to
Yeah,
suppress the hunger, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So itulah when we go in, we try not to judge,
Mm-mm.
uh, and then to just assess the situation objectively lah.
Mm-hmm.
Then then I thought, okay, how can we do this efficiently?
Mm-hmm.
And because corporates come in and help, but they would help the famous areas, or the better the NGO that does publicity, those are where the help would go to.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ones yang macam maybe they're just too busy being on the ground helping people,
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones yang would struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and so I thought, okay, let's try and map this out, so that we can have a more organized system lah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of my current job that I'm doing, which
Mm-hmm.
is a consultant for CSR with one
Mm-hmm.
of the corporates,
Mm-hmm.
a few friends of mine, we just started our little MCO project, which
Mm-hmm.
was the Zero Hunger platform. And
Mm-hmm.
this was all done for 2 months. We were doing it via Zoom, like
Mm-hmm.
planning. How do we solve this problem in a more um, coordinated way,
Mm-hmm.
and also for us to try and get as many people. It's not like SDG kan, you have to get like so
Mm-hmm.
many people on board, and it's about
Mm-hmm.
shared
Yeah.
responsibility, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're working towards now also lah. Other than
Mm-hmm.
taking care of the environment, taking care of the house, taking care of everything else that's going on.
Right. And I guess your role right now is, I think your day job lah kan, what you do is you come in into big organization, and I think that's very strategic, because your passion is in helping people, right? And you
Mm.
are now a CSR specialist, and you come into big organization, and normally this big organization, they already have CSR budget, and what you do is you help them to um kasih efektifkan their CSR project so that they could help the community better, and which area would need more help, right?
Yeah.
What are the kind of projects that you are doing with I know that from conversation with you, ada logistic and electricity. Am I right? I'm not so sure. Would you want to speak about that?
Yeah, so it depends on the client basically. So I look at their brand,
Mm-hmm.
diorang punya positioning, and their product.
Mm-hmm.
And I always believe like three things. Kalau a sustainable CSR program, seeing your current whatever that you have within your resources, also the staff that you have, the strength of the staff, to run a sustainable CSR program. So currently, the company that I'm working with is a power company, and they have access to electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we help, right? From there is, okay, let's get access electricity from those towers, because most of the towers are in rural areas, kan?
Mm-mm.
And provide electricity to schools, to houses, or even to water pumps,
Mm-mm.
or even a mini recycling machine, just to help community. The
Mhm.
other thing is also, when, of course, when you build infra, you would
Mm-hmm.
have destroyed a lot of the environment, like pokok-pokok and all that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then invest in a strong green program to
Mm-hmm.
replant trees, just to make sure that whatever that carbon that we have caused would be saved back lah, through the tree planting. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
So you've been working a lot with this community, right?
Mm,
And I guess because of our topic today kan resilience. So
mm,
rasa macam okay, we talk about resilience sekarang ni, ada orang cakap resilience in business,
mm,
resilience in the corporate world, because ramai people got laid off from their work, and then so many things like that's going on, and they say that resilience is the most important thing right now. But
yeah.
from what I hear from you is that this is different kind of resilience, babe, different
Mm,
kind of resilience, right? This is like
yeah.
basic resilience. What have you learned from the community of all the years working with this community? What did you learn from them in terms of resilience before we get to the hunger part?
I think the most important thing that I've learned from the communities is that, although we are more equipped and we are probably more educated, but resilience doesn't come from that, you know. Resilience is about um, tackling adversity. So katakan when something like this pandemic comes, right? I think a lot of people yang is so comfortable with life, and you think that life is so macam already in place. Yang tu is not the ones that would survive and be resilient. Yes, you would kind of know how you want to do this, but
Mm-hmm.
the ones yang who are really resilient are the people who have to survive every day. How
Mm-hmm.
do I feed my family? When am I going to get my next uh, not even paycheck? My maybe do it for the day. Am I going
Mm-hmm.
to clear the house? I cannot go out if because of the MCO. So those are real challenges. But I find that because they are so used to survival,
Mm-hmm.
that having a solid plan is not part of their DNA. It is about how do I rise above? Diorang lah yang real her rise story,
Mm-hmm.
rise
Mm-hmm.
above. And the what I find that actually drives people and what should drive us would be our commitment. Commitment to our life goals, commitment to our family, commitment to what is important to us. So um, like for you, your commitment is to helping women rise, right? For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's about I look forward to helping communities on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for them, it is about I have to get out of bed today because I want to
Mm-hmm.
feed my family. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it is about your committed action lah. If you stick to whatever that you are committed to and you're passionate about, I think that would be the one that makes you more resilient. That will make you not give up.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the first two lah that I would say would be the most um, you know important point that I actually learned by talking to them and meeting them. The
Mm-hmm.
stories are all different,
Mm-hmm.
but the concept behind it actually we all go through the same. I
Mm-hmm.
think all, not just women, all women and men go through the same, except it's just a different story. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So is there any significant story tak? Ada a significant encounter tak yang you've gone through or you've heard, you've experienced with anyone yang you rasa that significant story lah, right? That would define resilience for you working with those community. Ada
Well,
tak?
so far, working with the community, the resilience is really about basic day to day. And to
Mm-mm.
me, macam every day they are a hero. You
Mm-mm.
know how certain people would walk maybe 8 hours a day just to go and find food for their children. That's
Mm-mm.
resilience. You
Mm-mm.
know how people. This is the village lah kan. But of course, for the city people, it's how you fall from business,
Mm-mm.
how you lose your job,
Mm-mm.
and then get right back up there. Kan? It's
Mm-mm.
about um, jangan malu,
Mm-mm.
jangan like sometimes people don't try to get out of their situation is because lah malu lah, I'm too embarrassed. What would people say of me? But to me, I think people who rise above this is usually I have my goal, I have my commitment.
Mm-mm.
If you think that you're going to say something about me, that means you're not going to pay my check. You're not going to feed my family. So I'm not going to care about that. Step
Mm-mm.
left.
Mm-mm.
Your next person that you meet or the
Mm-mm.
next strategy that you're going to have, right? But
Mm-mm.
I tell you, the stories of how people have um, overcome these challenges memang banyak lah.
Ada
Yeah.
tak one story that you rasa macam one story yang of a person, of course kita tak nak sebut nama dia lah kan, ada tak that
Yeah.
one story yang you nak cerita with us dengan
Mm,
about that person ke, yang you ingat dari dulu lagi like that?
okay, belum. I kena
Kena
revisit
ingat, kena
sebab
revisit.
cerita banyak.
Cerita tu sangat banyak. Okay,
Cerita
yeah.
tu sangat banyak. Like which one? Which chapter do I like?
All right. So let's get into what you do right now, kan? I wanna talk more about that. About you started Zero Hunger, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's Zero Hunger.
Yeah.
So then I do think that like you cakap tadi, when we are in the city, of course there are the urban poor kan,
Yeah.
and I guess there are also different community leaders who are working with the urban poor,
Mm.
and then there is also the feed the hungry kan, macam tu. But saying all that, I think talking about resilient kan, so
Mm.
when you are hungry kan,
Mm.
which is basic, the most basic need of surviving is to eat kan,
Yes.
to not
Yes.
be hungry so that we can do the other stuff, whatever lah, people talk about dreams, people talk about whatever lah kan, tapi when you're hungry, so
Mm.
how do that relate to resilience based on your experience, and how is that affecting the wellness of the community? What do you think?
Okay. So hungry is like kiranya the very very basic kan, and it's
Mm-mm.
SDG number 2.
Mm-mm.
Of course, poverty being the cause of hunger would be number
Mm-mm.
1, right?
Mm-mm.
So when you are hungry, yelah tak ada energy, tak ada, how are you going to focus on being sustainable or earning income? Sebab you're just thinking you're hungry, your family is hungry,
Mm-mm.
So, but again, I guess for them the motivation would be to basically find food.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go? And the more committed people are, diorang really know how to be creative, uh, to adapt to the situation. On our part, we try and look at not the problem,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and not just the solutions, but what is the underlying cause of this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, using technology would be the best way to access this, right? So what do we do first? Number
Mm-hmm.
one is find out who are the hungry people. So that is one that we would focus on, locating the hungry people. And then because what we also found out was during this time, ada yang dapat banyak tapi ada yang tak dapat langsung. So we thought, okay, let's have a more systematic way of doing this, and also for it to be independent of politics, independent of favoritism, yeah. So and independent of race, culture, So that's why we wanted, kadang-kadang dengan teknologi ni is that's where you can just be, you know, just fair lah, because it's just data, right? Data has
Mm-hmm.
no
Mm-hmm.
meaning, no name,
Numbers
no
won't
nothing.
lie, right?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that is why it is important to have this data.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, once we know, okay, ni semua lapar, this one lapar, and then we find out other causes. Lapar kenapa? Mungkin like, you know, some of them because OKU,
Mm-hmm.
some because of racism, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
bullying. These are real problems. Dah lah aku lapar, kena bully. People are looking down because of race or because, you know, I'm a refugee.
Mm-hmm.
So we try and look at all those different things and then
Mm-hmm.
find ways of how to fulfill this hunger for them. And
Mm-hmm.
then we go out there and look for, okay, who wants to help? Who can help? Who can contribute to this? Because I tell you, sebenarnya Malaysia is a very generous nation. Corporates are generous, individuals are generous, even our government is generous. It's just that it has to be managed well so that there is no much a crossover and I think then the problem, you know, would be a bit under control lah. And it's about caring for one another, you know. It's like if you know your neighbor is hungry, seek help for your neighbor. It's not just you jaga yourself, it's you jaga your community, you jaga, you know, the next door neighbor, your friends, your family. I think those are the people that you reach out for to help them. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you think that this is affecting wellness? Sebab, okay, makan, nutrition and nourishment is part of wellness, right? So again, that is the basic need. After all, it's top three of the UN SDG. So if you don't, if for our better benefit of our audience, if you don't know what is the UN SDG, is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So there are 17 United Nations development goals altogether. So the top three is number one, poverty. Number two is to stop hunger, and number three is the good health and well-being, right? And somehow all this is interrelated with makan, right? So how is this, do you think, affecting wellness? So when you don't eat, then what? So we know, many people know, but I think
Yeah.
you have the data to talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why when we look at the data also, it's not about just bagi makan lah, because you know what can we give, and then you give makan pun 2 weeks, a month, you know, that is all we give. And because you cannot give nutrition, um, it doesn't solve the problem. Yeah. So that's why part of our platform is we also focus on urban farming, community farming. Sebab kalau you duduk dalam hutan or you duduk dekat kampung, chances are it's a bit easier lah. You ada sungai or you have, you know, pokok sayur and all that.
So,
But
ada
urban,
sustainability lah, ada sustainability element to it lah, right?
yeah. So maybe air je kotor kan. Tapi in the city, where you going to find water kalau tak ada water, right? Kalau pokok, you know, some of these people, they live in a very small apa tu, flat, but there's 20 of them. Mana ada tanah, mana, you know, how are you going to get your nutrition? How are you going to, you know, basically live a healthy life? And then nak tidur pun tak comfortable. So like every single prinsip for them to have health and wellness too is out already, kan? So that's why now we're big on starting community farms, and I think that is the buzzword lah, even from dekat government side, corporate side semua tu, community farming, where we start to plant pokok-pokok and all that, not for just future pandemic, tapi it becomes a new way of life. We grow our own food. where
Mm,
I think a few European countries are already doing this, right? But all
mm,
this is about planning. Because if you want to be resilient, sebenarnya you don't just pergi situ and jadi resilient. Actually, it takes a lot of planning. Wellness take a lot of planning. Even if you want to eat healthy like us, kan? It's so easy for us to just go and get the next McDonald's. Oh, sorry, McDonald's. Fast food, junk food, kan? But if you suddenly want to go on keto and all that, you know how much
mhm.
time you need to prepare for that?
Kan? Mm-mm.
To be mindful of, okay, this is my schedule for the day. Exercise ke tak? Tidur cukup ke tak? You know,
Yep.
and first of all, if you also incorporate me time,
Mm-hmm.
which I think most of us don't, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Right. So that means that we, because today kan the topic is resilience and work life balance kan, and we are connecting this to hunger, and
yeah.
I guess it is one of the biggest world problem lah right now, and of course like, that's why it's the top three UN SDG sekarang ni. So then
Mm.
I would feel that it is a huge problem, because when hunger happens, then all the other part of wellness goes out the window lah, right? And
Yeah.
this is actually a serious topic. And I like the sustainability part where you come in, you feed them, and then you give them a method of to be more sustainable in getting food so that they can eat and they are not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
May I know what is their reception of that? How do they accept that idea?
I think now there is a shift in the mindset of the receivers, kan? Because there's many articles and there's many feedback that we get also, you know, they don't want handouts. They want dignity. So dulu memang, you know, orang tunggu je. Sometimes it's a professional job to just wait. Okay, where else can I get help? Where else I can get money from the government? You know, depend. But now things like that have changed. So the most important thing for me right now is it's not the food or the programs that you have. Tau. It is about behavioral change and attitude change and skilling them. So education memang is important sebab without that you will have all these other problems, stories, and you know, instead of thinking forward to help yourself get out of this attitude and behavior change and the knowledge. So memang lah, okay, maybe I don't know, you know, how I can get out of this. So sometimes when we deal with communities, it's just like a simple option. They will be like, oh, boleh ya macam ni, you know, because they don't have even the time to focus out. Kan? So into your problems, you're so into hunger and all that. You can't darunsing kan? So that is
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
I think most important right now lah.
Yeah, and also there is someone commenting here kan, it says
Mm,
urban poor really is a big issue but don't receive much attention. Cost of
mm,
living is so high in urban areas and it is not feasible to just up and move to rural areas where cost of living is far lower. What do you think of that, Tati?
Um, it's true. um, Actually, urban poor is a serious issue, and it does receive a lot of attention. But I think it is the way it is managed, the way that, you know, when people plan, when people help, sometimes a lot of these people pentingkan themselves first, you know, and that's why you have scams, you have things like, oh, actually orang donate RM100 per family. Tapi sebenarnya apa the value they get was only 50 ringgit worth,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
35 ringgit worth.
Ada
Where did
administration
all
lah,
this
whatever lah kan semua tu.
correct? But it's
Mm-mm.
not administration. No, it went to a pocket. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-mm.
not saying I don't know whose pocket, but kalau masuk 5 different pocket, 10 ringgit, 10
Mm-hmm.
ringgit, 10 ringgit, 10 ringgit.
Ringgit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So it also goes down to an immature attitude
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where you don't think about the people who are hungry. Some people are saying, alah, sebenarnya diorang selalu minta pun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay for me to take.
Mm-hmm.
So attitude. Yeah. So it's
Mm-hmm.
also attitude of the people who are running this,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is pejabat tanah, pejabat DO, or many, many,
Mm-hmm.
many people in the chain. Or
Mm-hmm.
what you do is have a um, value chain that
Mm-hmm.
is
Yep.
systematic and
Yep.
cut
Mm-mm.
semua, cut all this. And so I
Mm-mm.
think that's what some of the telcos are doing right now.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Uh,
There is technology to help with that now kan. Cut orang tengah
correct.
semua.
Yes, you lapar, I hantar straight into your account.
Mm-mm.
And then, or I give you a voucher, because certain areas tak ada connectivity, tak ada apa kan, you get a
Mm-mm.
voucher. Or
Mm-hmm.
macam like we want to do macam food bank. So food banks can be people like Tesco, people like Maidin, and they have a list. They have a list of things yang I show you my code or I show you my voucher, and you can pick this list of things. Tak boleh
Mm-hmm.
lah rokok semua tu tak boleh lah, but
Mm-mm.
essential things that is on the
Mm-hmm.
list. Because
Mm-hmm.
this also is different from you and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe in your list you would need susu for babies, but if
Mm-hmm.
this other person doesn't have babies, then mungkin they can spend more on something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that
Definitely.
is actually the problem of urban punya poor. And again, it's the attitude. But I don't blame them because like sometimes, let's say if you live in the flat, kan,
Mm-hmm.
such family, the size is so small, but the family is big,
Mm-hmm.
So you live in a confined area and there's no place for teens to grow even can
Mm-hmm.
and then so all this resentment and attitude comes in, and then tapi at the same time they see their role model pun, okay, this is all I'm going to be. So it is about having good role model, great
Mm-hmm.
program, development, and
Mm-hmm.
to make them see positive stories. So I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what we need to create,
Mm-hmm.
positive stories.
Mm-hmm.
The community next door ke, oh that flat did it. So macam stories that they can relate to, not
Mm-hmm.
stories yang you baca from overseas. Okay, that guy didn't graduate, but now he's a billionaire. No, that one you be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
fine, that's fine, but that's it's not something I can
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
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 So it takes, I think, a lot of planning and
Mm-hmm.
people who want to do different things in
Mm-hmm.
the chain, the value chain,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
attitude
Mm-hmm.
part, the
Yep.
sustainability part, the basic food part, all those things. People have to just work together lah.
Yeah. So that is when that's called collaborative leadership, right? So when we want to
Yeah,
do something, then what is your strength and what is my strength, and how that we come together with towards the single vision, right? Towards
yeah.
the main vision. Yeah, that is super important. And I remember this story, right? I went once to Gawat Kalinga in
Ah,
Manila,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, about an hour and a half from the Manila punya city lah kan. So I
Mm,
met this girl who dia punya backstory best sangat. So Tony Meloto is the founder of Gawat Kalinga, which is, so I went to the Enchanted Farm itself. So this
mm,
is like a social enterprise punya thing kan. So
mm,
she as a little girl was found with her entourage, kan ada geng dia, geng curi pisang. So they were stealing bananas so that they could feed their family. That's what they did. But then they
yeah,
went into the enchanted farm to steal bananas so that they can feed the family. But then Tony Meloto actually caught her and asked her, "So why were you stealing bananas?" "Because I need to feed my family." And I guess that was the key, right? Of knowing why is it happening. So sekarang
yeah,
ni ada macam-macam lah kan, kind of corruption is happening, tapi orang
yeah,
yang curi susu dekat supermarket itu yang kena, itu
yeah,
yang that kind of thing. But that
yeah,
key, finding out why. And Tony Meloto brought her in to the enchanted farm
yeah,
and groom her and educate her, and she went to France to continue her study and then went back and served in the enchanted farm. And I guess we need more stories like that in Malaysia, more leaders to come together and help, right? Because again,
yeah,
food is the basic
yeah.
basic start lah, foundation to whatever wellness that we are talking about, right?
And I think what he did different is that, kita kalau macam, okay, you buat salah, right? Punish.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, you know, macam hari tu kan, when people lost jobs, ada that poor guy that wanted to commit suicide and then he didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Lepas tu dia kena fine 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he wanted to jump in the first place. But instead of fining him, you should provide him counseling, treatment, same as yang mencuri. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the resilience part is I will beg, steal, or borrow to feed my family. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but our duty to actually tell them, okay, maybe this is not the way. Explain to them what is right and wrong, haram to take, but you can ask. You can seek help instead of stealing and then terus masuk jail, habis. Your family is still hungry, right? I think that is the other one lah, community
Mm-hmm.
support, mentorship, coaching. Again, it is about education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe that's why lah poverty tu is first kan. It covers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, education, also creates the poverty. I
Livelihood
think
kan.
that's why it's all interlinked lah. Yeah.
All
So
interlinked kan. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I guess what needs to change is the judgment in the
yeah,
community. Kan when
yeah,
orang buat salah tu, someone needs to play a role. I need to play. Kalau everyone thinks the same kan, I need to
yeah,
play a role to just find out why is this person doing this.
yeah,
Find
yeah,
what's the root problem, and okay lah, settle the root problem dulu, then that curi ke whatever lah kan will settle, right? Kalau tak,
yeah,
then it will forever be like that because of satu benda je, judgment.
yeah.
And that's
That,
mental, that can be changed, that can be shifted, right?
yeah. Lagi-lagi now, with social media, right? You will
Mm-hmm.
see suddenly the netizens commenting, and you don't know these people, but then the judgment is there, out there for everyone to see.
Mm-mm.
Um, and again, I think your point is right. It is everybody's responsibility. So if
Mm-hmm.
everyone just feels like, I'm gonna help a person a day, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I think if the haves just help the have-nots, boleh balance tau sebenarnya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, um, educate, support, coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just money. You don't just give money to people and then expect them, okay, I've done well, I've already fed someone.
Mm-hmm.
It is also, other people, other parts would have to help educate them,
Mm-hmm.
coach, even as people who are working, or people like us, we need
Mm-hmm.
a coach also, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When we go through, okay, block. So you
Mm-hmm.
need mentors, you need coaches. It
Yep.
goes the same. Support.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah,
Support.
yeah,
Asking for support, right? So
yeah.
this is like a very, I know that this sounds like a serious topic, but it is necessary, I feel,
Mm,
because like you
mm,
say, I like that. I really like that. When you go out, kan, and then dengan tak payah susah lah kan. I always like to say this kan. So kalau you ambil parking ticket, some places kan sekarang dia bukan mesin, masih lagi ada orang kan. So
Yeah.
imagine that person tu, what kind of wellness that she or he is going through, that satu hari 12 jam, maybe ada, bukan 12 jam lah, 8 hours of her or his life, dia duduk dekat pondok tu seorang,
Mm.
right, in a basement of a hotel parking ke whatever kan. And then lepas tu akan ada orang yang datang and then marah-marah dekat dia, whatever lah kan. Apalah salahnya kalau like you say, you know, be help one person kan. Kalau tak nak
Yeah.
help pun lah, be kind to the person and say, hi, hello, apa khabar? Or you look good today. Oh, cantik lah or whatever. Hi, you know, smile at that person.
Yeah.
Imagine kalau 10 orang dia jumpa kan, ada 9 orang dah ni jahat dekat dia atau you know show that face to, you know, act as if that person doesn't exist, that parking person doesn't exist. Tiba-tiba ada seorang yang hi, you know, just have that energy dengan dia. Imagine
Yeah.
what would you feel kalau you jumpa 10 orang, 9 orang act as if you don't exist and then suddenly you hi. How would
Yeah.
you
I
feel,
think
right?
that one person would probably make an impact for maybe not just my day, but maybe my month or my year. You know, that one person made a difference, and I think
Kan?
every one person can make a difference if
Mm-hmm.
you just
Yes.
just do
Yes.
it.
Yes, and it's a very
Yeah.
simple thing, Tati. Yang paling tu is a super simple thing and it's not difficult to do. Tak keluar duit, tak apa pun. Just make a difference to one person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think how we can help friends also is that sometimes they don't have time to look for these platforms for giving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they want to help but they don't know how, they don't know where to go. Um, so just share. That's why they said sharing is free kan.
Mm-hmm.
Just share. Bukannya orang nanti kata oh dia ni asyik minta duit ke apa. If they do, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't hurt to share.
Yep.
And you are actually helping other people and giving them the opportunity to also help. And I
Mm-hmm.
think bila you have a community of like-minded people who wants to do this together, and everyone puts in, diorang punya weight, everyone just comes in and contribute. Bukan macam waiting, okay, yeah, you buat ni, you buat tu. Tak. Jump in, just jump in whenever you can help. I think for me, that's what drives me. When
Mm-hmm.
I see support, when I see people yang, oh, bila cakap kan macam I cakap dengan you, okay, I'm doing this, you be like, oh, wow, how can I help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is about building healthy communities juga lah.
Yep.
Not just for the poor, but for normal
Among
people like
us.
this. I tell
Mm-hmm.
you, I've seen people yang, even myself,
Mm-hmm.
bila you tengah not in action, you duduk, you are brooding, sedih and all that, what you attract is sedih. You attract problems. But when you're suddenly in action and tak ada kena mengena dengan your current problem or whatever that you're doing, you just, get into action. Okay, I want to help this, I want to do this project, I want to do that. Suddenly, you will see that you are attracting good vibes. Opportunities come for you. And I don't know, like mystical ke apa kan, but actually it's true. The
Mm-hmm.
way
Yeah.
that you carry yourself
Mm-hmm.
is what you attract from outside.
Yeah.
So when memang you just go out there and like gung ho and just buat aja, suddenly you will see the things that come to you is not what you plan,
Yeah.
because you are living in action.
Because like sama energy kan, you will attract the macam sama frequency, it will vibrate towards
Yeah,
that energy, go towards the people yang sama, and that person pun will vibrate towards you kan, so you vibrate towards each other lah, like that.
yeah.
So
So sometimes
yeah.
when I am down ke apa, I will try to look for that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me also, if I see people who are down, right, it's
Mm-hmm.
always like, you borrow my energy, I lend you
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
until you get back up there kan. So
Mm-hmm.
kita share electricity lah, basically. Yeah,
Yeah, right. And that is so awesome. Okay, so my last question to you, right, Tati? I know this because I'm in the community world too, right? Being in the community world, working with the community, and kita sometimes ada stakeholders, right? And we
yeah,
have other working with other community leaders. There are just so many challenges while doing that, right?
yeah,
And I've seen so many people, right, that they want to get into that work, that community work, right? But then sometimes people shoot them down. Bila resilience tak kuat, memang I don't want to do this lah, I penat. Might as well I just focus on my work, or might as well I just focus on my business, right? But what
correct.
drives you? What drives you? So that is resilience too. That is double resilience. You are actually working with the community to build their resilience, because as I am hearing right now, and what I learned right through this conversation, that kalau you tak makan, ada wellness out from the window. But then at the same time, I need to build my own personal resilience to give back, to focus out. How do you handle it, Tati?
I would say focus on your why. So, when you want to do something, you for me lah, I got to build my passion and my belief. And if that is strong, everything else that comes is just noise. Orang caci ke, orang tak support and all that is just noise. Take it out. Because you really go back to the cause. You really go back to what you believe in. So kalau macam, orang kata, alah, kenapa you nak buat hunger when, there's like other things going on in the world? Because it's my cause. That's what I believe in. Yes, I also believe in the environment and all that, but this is my passion. So you never run away. So even like kadang-kadang, then you will get tested lah. Macam money comes in, sometimes, people would say, hey, why don't we do this? And we try to, when people want to try and make deals and exploit the situation, kan? You always just stick to, this is my focus, this is my goal, and this is why I'm doing it. And then just stick to it. Then you won't, you won't run away from it. You won't, just, okay, I'm going to do something else. Susah lah. Oh, this one suddenly looks more fun. Oh, orang tu punya program looks more fun, and then you jump. Okay? Focus. It is focus on your why, and everything else that goes around is just mechanism. But your why is the one that will keep you grounded.
Wow,
So
your why is what keeps you grounded.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's oh my god, tiba-tiba my alarm bunyi. Sorry. The reality of working from home. Okay. So yeah, so I guess I learned so much right today, and I'm so glad that the conversation went to this direction, right? I guess many, as we
yeah,
are talking about wellness, as we are celebrating the World Wellness Weekend globally, kan?
yeah,
I think people
yeah,
forget that thing. People forget that thing, that, you know what? There are other people. If you are talking about, so let's say me lah kan, I just need to work out sebenarnya. I need to work out so that I have more energy, so that I have more appetite, so that I eat, that kind of thing. Tapi ada orang yang is different level punya challenge. So if I think that I'm facing whatever kind of challenges, dia punya challenge lagi lah. It's just to makan, right? It's just to makan,
yeah,
dia punya challenge.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
truly contribute to wellness. And that's the basic of the foundation of wellness, actually. That is one thing that I learned.
yeah,
And right, the second thing that I learned is we need to play our part. So I need to play my part. If each and every one of us play each other's part, my part lah, everyone come from, okay, how am I contributing today? Who am I helping today? That's what you say, kan? One person, help one person je one day. Tak payah nak banyak pun,
yeah,
kan? So if you're gonna give
yeah,
money, be kind, share whatever that you have, kan? That will be awesome, I
yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Yeah.
like for me also, if it's like when you have a tough time or you think that your problem is so tough, that would pass. But I would just close my eyes and just look at the experiences that I have seen on the ground, the people who have suffered. That one, you just then you just think, my problem is nothing lah.
Yeah.
you know, close
Yeah.
your eyes and look at all the people that you have seen who are suffering. Yeah,
Yeah, be
so
grateful, right? And
yeah,
that contributes to resilience too, right?
grateful.
Every time that I am facing
Yes,
challenges, close close my eyes and think about other people yang has they are facing like far more bigger challenges that I am really facing right now. Kan?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that's awesome.
also, don't forget, take care of yourself first. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So that is where sebenarnya, if you want to be helping people, you yourself have to be strong in terms of your health. Kadang-kadang, we feel like, oh, you go all out and then over, and sampai your health gets affected. And I know this because at that time when we were so gung ho about it, we were working until 3, 4, 5 a.m., just to get this done. And then the next day, you dah macam penat, dah tak efficient, effective, right? So take care of yourself first. And that is what work-life balance is. But to find that balance, you got to be focused. You got to plan your time. You got to, just be disciplined in it. Kan senang. Tapi bila dah buat like for me, thousands of hours, it becomes a way of life. And it's not hard work anymore. It's just like breathing, right? Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, that's really awesome. And like everything else, when we are having fun, when we are finding value in a conversation, it will always come to an end. Like rasa macam so quickly, right? So, Tati, is
Yeah.
there
Thank
any
God. I'm like, oh my God.
kan? So cepat je, right? And what would be your
You're right.
last message to the audience, Tati?
Well, I would say look after ourselves, but also look after one another. That is how we rise, not just women rising, but just everyone, even our children, our teens, our babies, and it is about looking after each other. Something simple as wearing a mask. When you wear a mask, you are looking after somebody else. When you don't want to wear a mask, you're just selfish. So now looking after one another covers all sorts of components. It's just to look out for one another lah. This is the time that we need
Yeah.
to do that. We need to look at people who are depressed. You never know. Everyone looks fine and all that kind. There may be someone out there who is depressed, struggling, just to be sensitive to that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is really awesome. And I guess, even though that this is her rise story, kan, it has many things that has to do with women. This is the agenda of her rise story. But I guess to all the feminists out there who all shares the same value that I do, I guess we often forget that when we want to be empowered or we are in the midst of empowering ourselves to rise, right, the people around us needs to be empowered too. They need to be empowered to be enrolled into an empowering person juga lah, to create that empowering space, right, for all of
yes,
us to grow together, right, to grow
yeah,
collectively, I guess. So for me to be empowered, my husband needs to be empowered too. For me to be empowered, my children needs to be empowered too. My team needs to be empowered too. I guess it's not
yeah.
only woman, woman,
To
woman
build
je,
that betul, because kita nak kena build that positive vibration
kan, together.
within our kan. And then
Yeah.
tiba-tiba ada someone in the house not positive vibrating, habis potong, short
Mm-mm.
circuit.
Then
Yeah.
firefighting lah pula kerja kan.
Tu dah jadi lain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you so much, Taty. It has been so awesome having you. I love this conversation. I am grateful and thank you so much. I believe that the audience have learned so much from today's session, right? I think it's very basic, but we often forget about it again, kan?
Yeah.
And thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing what you do, right, with Zero Hunger. And I hope to have an awesome chat again with you soon. So thank
Okay.
you from Her Rice Story.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, bye, Tati.
Bye.
So, everyone, that was an awesome session with Tati. And, she is an inspirational leader lah in the CSR punya realm kan, and I love that conversation that we had, and it was a huge eye opener. I guess when you see the topic, right, resilience, and you would be thinking that we will be talking about resilience in everyday life, but then it was an eye opener for me. Yeah, who, or probably I think we I forgot, I think that I forget that every day ni I shouldn't be only thinking about myself, right? I should also be thinking about wellness, not only for the people that is watching the show. Wellness is also for the people that we could contribute to. And that is a huge learning for me today. And again, right, we will be having another interesting episode tomorrow at Her Rice Story, right? And we will be airing also at 12 p.m. tomorrow with Dr. Amina Josetta, and also the weekend after that, we are having our virtual talk show again from the 22nd of August to 4th of October, and we are looking forward to have you join us. Thank you so much from the Her Rise Story team.
We gon' walk it out.